Hi guys and welcome to today's video. So last week I was telling you about how I managed to get a new passport and now I was ready to apply for a visa. If you missed that video, there's a link in the description for you. Go watch it because it'll make more sense. But today let's get into the next chapter of my journey to the USA, which was applying for a visa. So when OSU, the university that I was applying to, told me that I was accepted, they also told me that in order to get a visa I needed a DS 2019 from them, which they hadn't sent me yet because my application wasn't complete. And in order to do that I had to send them a copy of my passport, a copy of my TOEFL, a bunch of other stuff such as recommendation letters, a letter from my bank. I also needed to send them all of my transcripts translated in English with the corresponding grade between our two systems, because France we do out of 20, so let's say 14 out of 20, 15 out of 20, and in the US they do A, B, C's and stuff. So I needed that, and also they needed to be signed by our headmaster, which apparently takes a month. So by the time I had everything, I was kind of like, okay, don't panic, but also panic a little bit because it's getting closer to the date you have to leave. So I got everything in an envelope, took that to the office of the lady that is supposed to send it to OSU because I couldn't send it myself. I had to get them to someone else. I don't know why, I don't know how it works. The only thing I know is that that lady's office was not in the same building that I was in, and it was not even in the same part of town. So I had to go there during my class hours because for some reason her office hours were always when I had class, so that was quite challenging, but I got them there, sorry. She sent them and I was expecting a DS 2019 in my mailbox. So a few weeks later, I got a big envelope in my mailbox. Yes, everything, like with my passport, everything that I had given them was back to me. Everything was there, plus a letter that said we could not deliver a DS 2019 because your bank letter was expired. So the bank statement thing had to be like less than 3 months old, I think, and mine was just over 3 months because the time it took for me to gather all the pieces and then for my application to get to the US, it was just like 2 days over 3 months, so they sent it back and I had to start all over again. And it worked the second time. I got an email telling me that my DS 2019 was ready to be mailed and that I had two options, which already sounds weird. Like, why would you tell me it's ready to be mailed? Just send it. They asked me if I wanted it by regular post, which was free, but could also take up to a month and they could lose it, or I could pay 45 euros, like I think 45 euros for a fast shipment, which was super safe, super fast, and they will not lose it. And also, they included that line in the email that scared me, which said, "We will not print another one." So you're telling me it could take up to a month to get to me, and maybe I won't have it in time to get my visa. You're also telling me they could lose it and you won't print another one. And also I need that paper to get to the US. So of course I paid the 45 euros because I was scared. I wasn't scared that they will lose it, but I was scared that it was not going to give me enough time to complete everything in the application process. So I was like, I need it as fast as I can. So yeah, I did that. I paid the fast shipment. And 3 days later I had this in the mail, which was a very big envelope for literally, are you ready? Dramatic reenactment. This. Like one single piece of paper. But it was probably the most important piece of paper of my life, which was my DS 2019. So there's a bunch of information on that you don't need, but they do for some reason. And there's something that is really important to you, is that little number. You probably can't read it, and I mean, you don't care, it's a number. It's your DS 2019 number, and it's useful for the next step in the process, and there's still quite a lot of steps, so bear with me. So the next step after you have your DS 2019, which is a proof that you have been accepted to a university, like for an exchange program, you need to pay your SEVIS fees. And I'm not really sure what they are. Basically, it costs $180. It's mandatory, you have to do it if you want to go in an exchange program. You just log on the Department of Homeland Security. I wrote it down because I couldn't remember. And they have an I-901 form for you to fill, which you need your passport number and your DS-2019 number. And then you pay the fees online and you get this I-901 confirmation thing. Now, I really want to tell you that it was really easy for me to get it, but it wasn't. For some reason the website was down when I tried to pay my fees, and then when it was working again, I had kind of the same problem that I did with my passport, before, which was with my name. Long story short, I got it to work, I paid my fees, and I had my I-901. I was able to move to the next step, which is the final big step before requesting a visa appointment at the embassy, which was the last step. Before that, you had to take a last form, the I-160 for me, for like the type of visa I was applying to was an I-160. And of course my battery died recording. Now the I-160 has a bunch of questions, of course, about your name, your passport number, DS-2019 number, why are you coming to the US, I-901 number, who's your sponsor, are you coming with other people, then your family background, who's your dad, what's your educational background, who's your mom, blah blah blah. There's a bunch of health questions as well, like do you have any diseases that they should be aware of, but also do your family have an history with those diseases, such as your grandpas and stuff. So I have to ask questions to people in my family. I was like, hey, did you or any relatives had a cancer, for example? The last part of the I-160 that is really fun to take, to me it was funny, it's not fun topics, but it was fun to take, is the security and immigration background questions. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with ESTA, which is the thing that you have to fill in if you're coming to the US just for tourism. If it's above 3 months, you need a visa. I think that's what it is. So the ESTA is a bunch of questions such as, are you a terrorist? Or were you in some way active during 9/11? Stuff like that. Not really fun topics, but they ask those questions in the ESTA, and basically the I-160 is just a very intense version of it. I wrote down a couple of the questions when I was filling the form, and I'm so glad I did, because again, it's not fun topics. Terrorism shouldn't be a thing. But it was really fun to take the question, because to me it made no sense to even ask those questions, because if I was a member of a terrorist organization taking this form, I would not say, oh yes, I am. Let's get through a few questions together. Are you coming to the United States to engage in prostitution, or have you been engaged in prostitution or procuring prostitutes within the past 10 years? So it's fine if it was 12 years ago. Do you seek to engage in espionage, sabotage, export control violation, or any other illegal activity while in the United States? Do you seek to engage in terrorist activities while in the United States, or have you ever engaged in terrorist activities? Have you ever, or do you intend to provide financial assistance or other support to terrorist or terrorist organizations? Because if you were, I'm sure you would tell them, right? Are you a member or representative of a terrorist organization? Again, if you were, you would say it. Have you ever ordered, incited, committed, assisted, or otherwise participated in genocide? Have you ever committed, ordered, incited, assisted, or otherwise participated in torture? I've killed mosquitoes. Does that count? So there you go, that was a sample of the I-160 questions. Once you're done with it, you can print it out, and then you get another number, which is very important because you can use it to request a visa appointment at the embassy, which in France is in Paris. And then all you have to do is go there, answer a bunch of questions, and then get a visa. How hard could that be? If you want to know how the rest of the story goes, be sure to be here next Sunday. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking on this bubble thing over here, so that you get notification every time that I post a new video. You can also go watch last week's video over here if you missed it or if you want to see it again. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye bye!